Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for being here and welcome to another day. How is everyone doing and how is everything going? I hope you guys can hear me nicely. And if you can't, just let me know. If this is the first time that we are meeting, I am Layla. I'm passionate about health awareness and helping home based business build their business using the online platform. So thank you so much for tuning in, and you're more than welcome. If it's your first time, more welcome, and thank you so much for being here. So today we're going to be talking about perfectionism because it is something that I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs actually go through. I know I'm one of those sufferers of perfectionism, and definitely, I would like to be talking about this for today. And we're going to be sharing a few simple tips for us to start overcoming perfectionism and actually change our mindsets to more of a action taker than anything else. So feel free to let me know. Feel free to share this with anyone that you think might need this as well. And feel free to send any questions that you might be having. Um, and let's get into it. So, how to actually overcome perfectionism? And we know that perfectionism actually holds us back. And this is that feeling of wanting everything to be perfect, everything to not have any mistakes, everything to just, when you are planning a launch, you just want it to, be out there and be the perfect thing that you've ever done. And that people, once you put it out, people like it and you start making lots and lots of money, which doesn't really happen like that. And this is something I've learned that in your first trial of the idea that you have for your business, the way you do things, it might look like you have this big idea, but then when you actually start doing it, it doesn't come out the same way. So it's important to know that perfectionism is not the way to go. The most important part of any entrepreneurship journey is actually to take action. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, the first simple tip or the first simple way for you to overcome perfectionism is to learn how to actually accept criticism. And I know that personally, I'm not so great at that. If someone, puts it out there, but what if you've done it this way and that way, and you start feeling a bit, but I've taken so long to actually do this, and now you come and you just think that you need to say one or two things and then everything is going to be perfect. This is perfect. You just need to be a bit open minded, and allow yourself to listen to what other people are saying. There's some criticisms that are really great, they're constructive, they're going to make a big difference in what you have. And you have to be you have to be open, and you have to have discernment to know which ones are those that are people that are really going to be um, helping you, and their criticism is going to help you grow, and which people you actually are just going to listen and completely ignore. That is really, really important. But learn to take criticism and take those comments into really increasing or changing your services and your products, right? That is important. Number two is that you really want to become more aware of your tendencies. And this is so interesting because as you are an entrepreneur, you will see that most times you have amazing ideas. And then you start doing something, and in the middle of it, it's either you get stuck into something, or there's a new skill that you really don't have, and then you go on a completely tangent. And I think that is important to know as well. I know I get that a lot as well, is that I start something, it sounds perfect, and then I get to a point that I'm just like, this still doesn't really match. There's something, and then you just get stuck in that point. It's so, so important to either ask for help or to do that specific task to the best of your abilities and really move forward. And that is where most of us actually get stuck and we can't move. It's because we still want this to be perfect, and we get our ideas in one specific way instead of moving towards the next thing or moving towards the next step in building our services and businesses. We just stop there and we never get to finish what we've started. So this is so important to become aware of: where do you see yourself being a perfectionist, and how is that really affecting you. And here you will be able to see, I spend too much time looking at the same, let's say you're doing something about personal branding. I spend a lot of time thinking about personal branding, but I actually don't do anything about it, or I don't write about it, or I don't teach people about it. So it's important for you to know what are your tendencies and why do you really stop there and start addressing that, because that's the main problem. And number three is that you really want to focus on the positive, and this is so important. Today I just watched a TED talk that spoke about kissing your brain, and such a beautiful idea, and a simple thing for us to actually start practicing. And it's still a way of practicing gratitude, but really being intentional about thanking your brain from everything that you've actually, I mean, being intentional about gratitude. So, we usually say, let's practice gratitude, and let's write three things that we're grateful for at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, during the day. Let's just have that. But I think this is such a, it puts effort and actually doing something in the same way. So while you're thinking about being grateful, you're really just touching your brain from being grateful, like you're kissing your brain. So you just hold a kiss and you touch your brain, and you're like, okay, I'm grateful for 1 2 3. But that's such a beautiful gesture to yourself. You loving yourself while you're doing that, and you're really acknowledging that there's so much in this world, but there's a few things that in that moment you're really grateful for. And for those things, that's where you're going to be living at. And I think that is something that we as entrepreneurs as well, and people in general, we need to do more. The way we live currently, and the situation that we are all living as a world, I think more positivity and more gratitude and more intentional gratitude, it's something that we can definitely live more of. Um, and we can be more intentional about it, because it really helps us. It helps us personally, it helps our businesses, it helps us see things in a different way. So really, really important for you to do that. Start practicing positive things that can really enhance the things that you're doing, and can continue helping you push forward and taking more action, and start seeing a really difference in your results, and see growth as well, because that is important. Number four is that you want to allow yourself to make mistakes. And this is one thing that entrepreneurs are not so great, especially if you're moving from an employee mindset to now an entrepreneur mindset. As an employee, you're not allowed to make mistakes. Mistakes are costly. Mistakes make you look like a failure. Mistakes make you look bad to your boss and your colleagues. So most of us are coming from an employee mindset where mistakes are not allowed. You're not allowed to try something and fail. When we become entrepreneurs, that is actually the way to go. Being an entrepreneur, you are allowed to make mistakes. That is just part of the journey. That is what we do. We make mistakes in order to know what really works and what doesn't work. We make mistakes to get data. We make mistakes to know that this one specific activity brings me more results than trying to have everything perfectly done. So that is what we do as entrepreneurs. And unfortunately, coming from an employee mindset, getting to that point where you allow yourself to make mistakes, it can take a little bit of time. And because it's not something that we're so used to, it really can delay what the progress that we really want to see. So it's important for us to keep reminding ourselves about this, that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay that things are not going so perfectly, because that is a journey of an entrepreneur. But with those mistakes, or let's call them lessons, it is important for us to take the lessons from it, and not make the same mistakes again, right? So take what we need to learn from that, use it to our advantage, and make sure that we can actually grow even more from that specific lesson that we needed to learn. So, really, really important to allow ourselves to be learners in this amazing journey that we are all in. Number five is that we really want to set reasonable goals. And this can be a bit tricky because we as entrepreneurs, we like to overshoot, we like things quickly, we want things to move quickly, we don't want to wait. We want to see results right now. We don't want to wait another 3 months to see what has happened, to what, like for the investment that we put in. We don't want that. But here we need to be patient and we need to set reasonable goals. So when we talk about reasonable goals, it's basically this week I'm going to be talking to 10 people, or this week I'm going to be writing 10 chapters or 10 pages for whatever you're doing. I'm going to read 10 pages of my book. So you really want to have reasonable goals. You can increase them as the time passes by. And at the end of the week, you can also measure what you've done, because measuring is extremely important. We can only change what we know, what type of results it brings us. And as part of an entrepreneur, as part of an entrepreneur's life, we need to be able to measure and see how much or what has changed from what we've done. So, really, really important to think about that. So what are your goals for this week? And have them really broken down nicely and simply, and continue pushing until you can actually get there. So, and remember that one of your goals as well should be that you should get enough rest, because that is important. If your body is rested, your mind can think properly, and you also need to have a little bit of fun, because that is important too. So, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you guys again later this week. Have a beautiful new week, and I wish that you really have your goals in place, and that these tips have really helped you to understand that perfectionism is not the way to go. And let's start getting into action. So, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again later this week. Bye.